Hello and welcome to the Our Metroidvania podcast. This is Cauldrath from the Our Metroidvania subreddit and Discord.
Hi, this is Master. I'm also from there.
Hi, I'm Atcero, and I'm the local NES gamer.
NES gamer. I've probably played more NES games than you have.
Yeah, but you're from the subreddit.
Okay. That's my biggest qualification. I visited this subreddit once, and now I'm here.
And now we're here. But that's just a theory.
Anyway, so we are discussing the Game Club game for the last 4 weeks, which was Alwa's Awakening. And so that's the footage in the background is me playing it. It was 5 hours, so I had to 4 times speed most of the video, so you get to enjoy that. So right now it's just giving the info dump on the backstory of the game, which is there and serviceable.
It's fine. I mean, it's pretty bog standard, as you would say. Does bog standard have a negative connotation?
Yeah. I've only heard it used in neutral connotation.
It has a very slightly negative connotation, I think.
It is a standard NES game.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah, most NES games didn't really have a lot to their plots. Partially because they didn't have a lot of room on the cartridge for them.
Yeah.
No time for story, just game.
Yeah. It was actually kind of a big deal when Ninja Gaiden started having cutscenes like that. Even look how ridiculous they were with the running.
What do you mean? Those are classics and great.
They are classics and still ridiculous.
Yeah. But they're beautiful.
Now we live in a world where our games have 80 gigabytes of cutscenes.
Yep. Or even games from the 90s and early 2000s that can crash on your computer if the cutscenes don't load correctly. And at you, King's Quest 8.
Well, other than that, King's Quest 8 was a technical marvel.
It was such a good game. It was so good. You know, I will go on my own Twitch account just to post the frickin'... Ugh.
Anyway, so we're here talking about this game, not King's Quest 8. So yeah, at this point, it's pretty simplistic. I haven't unlocked any of the spells yet, so I just got the staff, and so you have a melee attack and you can jump. Pretty basic stuff. Just hit the first save point, which actually the save system in this game was pretty interesting, because when you, it's kind of like Dark Souls where it continuously saves, but there's also no death penalty. So you can just die to go back to a save point, kind of like having fast travel that way, or you can go to the menu and just reload your save, and it'll have all of the progress. Which, I don't know if there was a game before that that did that with actual saves. There were some ones that had passwords that did that on the NES. But once you got to saves, they kind of just saved the state when you saved, and then that was it.
Yeah. Oh, mute the game audio? Yeah. Is it doing the bzzz? Yeah, I can mute that. Sounded fine, but I also only did the intro cutscene for testing, so fair. Thank you. Thank you, Ken.
Just got the map, so I guess that's where it started being a Metroidvania.
Obviously. If you know the rules.
Yep.
Also,
So
wait, no, your character isn't secretly a girl, though, so I don't know if it counts.
Did they ever explicitly say that she's a girl?
I thought so. Zoe and...
They might have, and I don't know, maybe not.
But you don't know for sure whether she's a girl or not.
You're calling her... Cauldrath. Please.
It's a secret to everyone.
It's a secret to everyone.
I guess we'll never know.
Wait, that's not a girl. No, Zoe is 100% a chick.
We
Why?
assume.
Ash is crashing this precedence. Hi, baby. Ow. So
Okay,
yeah,
sorry,
this game, its mechanics, it feels, for me, exactly like an NES game, which apparently not a lot of people liked. Maybe because they just, need to get good at NES games, but who am I to judge?
I did
Are you-
not do my job, and I did not read the reviews people posted on the Discord. Did people
Oh
say that
no,
often?
I can do it.
I don't mean you have to read them out loud. I was just asking, is that like a common thing that people say about this
They
game?
were saying the controls were weird and floaty, and I'm
Oh.
like,
Yeah, you
the,
think
the
excuse me.
character is pretty slow compared to a lot of games.
That's an NES game. That's an NES game. I'm sorry that someone made a genuine, great feeling NES game, and people are like, it feels weird. Like, no, I love that. I love this game. This is fun.
I just think people would be expecting it because, they're playing an NES game, basically.
Yeah,
Yeah, and this was actually an NES game. They made a
cartridge
cartridge
for it.
and all.
Ugh.
Um,
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but the sequel was a lot faster, so I don't know if they like it. They probably wanted it to have like a distinct feel where this game feels like an NES game and the next one feels like a Super Nintendo game.
Yeah, well, as soon as, I beat it. Oh yeah, by the way, spoilers for this game, everyone. Jeez, Ash, he's shaking my monitors. As soon as I got to the end, I'm like, oh, now this is beautiful. It was so good. Like, as soon as I died, I'm like, oh no, is it pulling a Dark Tower on me? Yes, in fact it is.
At least they
They
didn't
should-
pull a Ghosts and Goblins on you and make you play through
Oh
the whole
god,
game
I
again.
would have cried. I would have actually been pissed.
They
Out
should
of-
have done that. Just every room has ridiculous platforming challenges.
So, Master, I hear you want to be banned.
It's rude.
Huh?
That's rude.
Oh, I thought you said screw it, and I'm like, wait, what? Is this the day that Master finally gets too tired and snaps?
That day is already long
The,
gone.
the secret is he's always too tired.
Mhm.
What? My cat has the zoom. Oh, did this come out before or after Shovel Knight? Let's take a little look.
Oh yeah, something, so this is Alwa's Awakening, and it does have the sequel, Alwa's Legacy, which basically everyone I've seen who has talked about the sequel has said that it's just the better version of this game.
That is.
Also,
So
this
it's,
is made after Shovel Knight. Shovel Knight came out in 14, this came out in 17. Stop it! It's not time for zoom.
One thing about this game it is very sequence breakable. It might actually be more sequence breakable than Legacy. So that might be one of the things like as a pro for it.
yeah.
I mean, if you don't care about sequence breaking, me, then it doesn't.
Hey, it's a cool thing for a game to have.
I
Yeah, I
can
just like
sequence
it.
break one game and one game only, and that's the only game I care about.
Symphony of the Night.
I think this copy. No, I don't think it did.
This doesn't look like Shovel Knight to me though. I haven't played
I
Shovel
don't
Knight
think
in a
any
while.
of the assets are copied. Because you have to understand, you are very limited in an 8x8 square. Damn it, Ash.
Yeah,
what's
how
on-
in the world does this look like Shovel Knight?
No, just some assets. Not that it looks like it, just some assets.
Which assets?
That's what I'm looking. That's what I'm looking. No, actually, no. I could probably do this. Spiders resource. Let's go.
Speaking of that, how do you feel about the art in this game?
Ooh.
Think it's faithful to
Oh,
NES
fuck
games
yeah.
while also being visually distinct?
Oh, it's beautiful. Beautiful pixel
Oh.
art.
Well, let's see how many colors the NES had like 4 colors that you could do. per like on a sprite. So
Yep.
I think that I think it adheres to that.
Yeah. And I'm pretty
It was
sure
released on the NES, so you'd think
it
it
has
wouldn't be
to.
a radically different, game not on the NES.
Yeah. Oh my god. Does this have tile sets? Uh-huh, it does have tile sets. That's a level.
And also, I don't think Shovel Knight went to the trouble of making an actual NES ROM.
Yeah.
No, that game cannot be made on the NES.
No. The entire prior castle looked exactly like Knight's Keep. I mean, you have to understand, bricks, good-looking bricks on the NES are all gonna look very similar if you adhere to that 8x8. So, I don't think it did.
Yeah. And if a game came out at how close together did these games come out? Like
3 years. Oh, yeah, see, no, Pridemore Keep is a lot. Yeah, no, those brick sets are not the same. Because they use those bricks. They use the same kind of bricks. And no. These are... Shovel Knight went for a much, simplistic brick. Well, they went for a more NES, how to put it? Not as simplistic, they actually did more complex bricks. So no. This is definitely original. I never noticed, oh god, the fucking Zoras. I never noticed a clear, like, oh, this tile set reminds me of this. And I keep an eye out for that.
Don't you mean Zolas? Not Zoras?
No, I looked it up. They were called Zolas, but you can assume that that is a mistranslation because L's and R's do get mixed up a lot in translation. But they're called Zoras in Zelda 3, which they looked exactly the same, so I think they're Zoras.
Yeah. That's because they were male in Zelda 3
No, they
and
were the
female in Zelda 1.
I think they're Zolas. Sorry, you're just wrong.
In later
There's
games,
Zolas.
in the original Zelda, Legend of Zelda, the Japanese word is more accurately Zora. However, the name was rendered as Zola.
Yeah, it's Zola.
No, both of you banned.
They changed it.
They retconned it.
No, they did not.
They didn't
They
didn't even retcon it.
Do you want me to go get my
in
big
future
book?
installments,
I
they
got the
changed
big book of Zelda
Obviously-
Timeline. Do you want me to go grab that? I will grab that and read it.
Stop trying to
consider it
change the
canonical.
past.
I will
Yeah.
go do it. I will go grab it.
We're talking about Alwa's here.
Then stop bringing up Zolas.
You stop
You're the one
bringing
that
up
brought it
Zoras.
up.
I brought up they looked like Zoras and they're assholes. That's all I did. God. Alright, we should probably do our own personal reviews. I never wrote one, so
I usually do, but I kind of forgot about it.
I'm
Yeah.
just gonna wing it. Because I actually
Unfortunately.
like this game.
Well, go ahead.
Oh, okay. Alright. So, I played this game on stream, and I fucking loved every moment of it. I think I ended the game with like 168 deaths. So I died a lot. But it did feel for me exactly like an old NES game. It was like going back to my childhood and playing a new, really good NES game because, sometimes they're not great. Music was bopping. I was jamming the whole time. What the hell sequence break are you trying? Cauldrath, were you okay there?
I tried to do the
I try
same
to do
thing.
everything. if there's a way that I could get somewhere that I don't think the game wants me to be, that's what I'm trying to do.
Oh, jeez. Alright. Music was bopping. Bosses were a bit of a pushover. I cheesed the second boss with the flask. I did not cheese any of the other bosses because I was getting my ass handed to me, but they had pretty simple boss patterns. So those weren't too bad. You could control your jump. Yes, please. That was really nice. Fuck those Zoras, though. They were probably one of the most annoying parts of the game.
I just quickly ran past them in my playthrough, so I didn't have to
Yeah, but
worry
you're
about them.
speedrunning. I can't
I'm not.
speedrun, Master. You attempted the speedrun.
Eh, I
Vaguely.
don't know. If I
Vaguely.
was speedrunning, it would have been under 2 hours according to the game.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, apparently the speedrun achievement for this game is very, very strict.
I don't think it's that strict. It's more like me playing a game I haven't played in several years and not knowing where to go or what anything is.
Ah,
And then
yes, the puzzle thinking.
one thing that annoyed me somewhat was I would try to go somewhere and do something, and I would just be gated by something I skipped previously that wouldn't seem like it had any relevance. Like for example, you need the flask in order to you have to talk to an NPC with the flask, give them a drink of water so you can get a key so you can progress through the game. Even though you also need the ability, or at least you're supposed to need the ability to get through that same area. So it's kind of a double gate. So I go to this area with this ability and I can't go through because there's a door. Figure out how to get the key. I go get the key, but then the guy wants something else I also don't have. And then in order to get the flask, you need an item from the first dungeon that I also skipped because I didn't explore all of it because I was trying to go quickly. So I ended up just having to re-explore a bunch of stuff and collect everything.
This is why you
Yeah,
just explore everything and you get the copper coin right away, and then you never have to go back there.
the thing about explore everything is every time you explore somewhere, that means you're not exploring somewhere else. So you can wind up exploring in the wrong order and like, oh, no, I didn't explore that spot, so I have to go and do that.
Kind of, but
I
since this
barely
game
had
has
that.
dungeons, it's kind of obvious.
Yeah.
Yeah, it often seems that you're supposed to mostly clear dungeon, though there are places in dungeons that have abilities that you need later, so it's not exactly a strict dungeon layout, I suppose.
No.
Yeah, the dungeons in this game have multiple entrances, so they're kind of
Like
sort of
biome.
dungeons, not yeah.
But they
They're
do revolve around collecting a specific ability.
they're dungeons in spirit, not in gameplay.
Yeah.
Eh,
Don't make
Which Legacy was a lot more dungeony because they all had like one entrance.
Yeah, so it's more like a Zelda like. I'm fine with that.
Yeah. And here's where I get most of my deaths.
Yeah, I hate this place. I mean, I had the ability upgrade and I still hated it, so
Yeah.
sucks to be you without the ability. But yeah, no, I really personally enjoyed this game. It was fun. It never felt like it outstayed its or overstayed its welcome. Pixar was gorgeous. Music was gorgeous. There was enough varied enemies. Bosses could have been a bit better, but I mean, at the same time, for a game that can fit on the NES, can't really say like, oh, this game, should have had more complex bosses. Nah, it can fit on a fucking NES cartridge. That's mad props right there.
I generally wasn't a fan of the bosses, though I understand, there's limitations that the game has.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
there
the
was one
bosses
boss
just felt
that
pretty tedious to me.
yeah, there was one boss that literally did the exact same move over and over again.
Which one? Well, they all
Exact
technically
same,
did.
Well, some of
yeah,
them had
the
multiple moves, but or like they could go to different
Oh, the
spots
spider.
in the room.
Spider Boy.
Well,
final boss.
no, I'm not talking about the final boss. I'm talking about the one that let's see, the fourth boss.
Which one
It's
was that?
literally just like so it's got the like two heads. It like shoots
Oh,
out
yeah, no.
like
Him and the red guy both had very easy to follow patterns, honestly.
well, the red guy at least had like I don't know, three different moves.
Kind of? The red guy had two different moves.
Um,
If you combine it with
maybe it was two.
the guys that you have to block.
Yeah, so there was the one where he like goes down. So he had three different patterns. He had go downward shooting, and he had shoot the thing that shoots more projectiles, and they had like going underneath and then shooting.
Yeah, let me see if I can find my boss fight with him.
Well, we'll see it eventually.
Yeah, I
we
know, but
will.
we're
We
talking about it right now, so it might as well pull up the footage. I just have to. I have to find it. I don't know where it is.
could just talk about it later.
Yeah.
Are we gonna remember later? Let's be real.
I mean,
Yeah.
when I'm fighting the boss, yes, we will remember
That's
that boss
true.
exists.
Zora said, "Fuck you."
Yeah.
But yeah, that is my review.
I, yeah. I mostly agree. I don't have super strong opinions about this game. It's an enjoyable game, has interesting mechanics. The platforming's fun. Lets you sequence break. No, aesthetically it's nice. There's a couple of quirks, couple of annoying parts. Bosses could be better. The gating with random keys is also a little disappointing.
Okay, to be fair, if you play the game normally, you're gonna stumble upon the copper coin. Like,
I think you have to go back and get it. I think the biggest issue with that area is that it's really far away from any fast travel points, and then you have to have the ability upgrade to get there. You get there, and then you find out once you've gotten there that you need the flask, and then you have to like go get it, and then come back
just
again.
get it the first time. Go get the copper coin. Go get the
You
flask.
don't know that you needed it, and that you didn't necessarily explore that place first. You explored other places first, so you found other things.
See, I'm the kind of nerd that if I'm playing a Metroidvania, I'm gonna try to explore everywhere I can in that area first before I move on. And yeah, I had no issues finding the copper key.
I mean, I didn't have issues finding it, it's just that I skipped it because
You were trying to speed run. You were trying to go fast on it.
I wasn't playing in this. I played a playthrough previously, so in my second playthrough, my goal wasn't to explore all the map and find all the things.
Yeah, like my first playthrough of this, I 100%ed it, and then this time I'm just like, I went for the two sequence break achievements, the one where it's beat the third boss first and beat the first boss in less than 10 seconds.
Jesus.
I don't have that much health.
Yeah, it's not very complicated. It's just like get enough orbs and get the lightning bolt spell. Because apparently they're weak against lightning. For some reason, like spiders are weak against lightning.
I feel like that'd be accurate to real life.
Like the
I mean, have you ever
storm
seen
thing
a
in that
spider
first
get
X-Men movie,
have
where
you ever
it's
seen a
like,
spider get struck by lightning before?
what happens to a spider when it gets struck by lightning? The same thing as everything else.
Imagine it just kind of ceases to exist.
You know, it kind of makes you wonder how often are spiders actually struck by lightning?
I wonder if there's a study on that.
I would assume so.
Somebody has a statistic.
There's a
It'd be a pretty
statistic.
weird thing and not an easy thing to do a study on, so I don't think there would be one. Have you ever heard anyone ask how often spiders are struck by lightning before?
Yeah, you just a few minutes ago.
You walked into that one.
Yeah, that Zola sure gave you some trouble.
Oh, you're
It
both
killed me
banned.
before.
I don't know what I did to you for you to be so mean.
Said Zola. That's all.
That's what
That's
they're
all.
called.
They're
But you
called
said you weren't gonna bring it up.
Zoras. No, no, no,
You're
no,
bringing it up
no.
right now.
And no, you're trying to bring it up. You're trying to get me
All
to
I
bring it
did
up.
was call
You're
them by their proper name.
instigating. Actually, we don't even. I'm looking up Alwa bestiaria.
Oh my gosh. I guess you got stuck in this room for a while.
Yeah. This is
It's
where I thought it
unfortunate.
was soft locked.
I had better luck chaining the bubbles than I had chaining with blocks.
Yeah, I saw you doing that. I'm like, I completely forgot to do that this playthrough. I'm pretty sure I did that in Legacy, and then I completely forgot it in this one.
Yeah, it makes it a bit easier. Though you still have to get the horizontal
Yeah, like
movement in the room.
the green blocks let you get a lot more. Like they're more flexible in what you like tricks you
Yeah.
can do with them. Whereas the blue ones is or yeah, the bubbles just you're going straight up almost.
Too much water, 0 out of a 10! Yeah.
Why can't Alwa just learn to swim?
Yeah, she uses a flask of water to like refill her health.
It's
So
yeah, maybe the regular water
Potable.
instantly kills you because it's filled with evil, whereas the well water is pure and sacred and heals you.
Or one's just potable and the other is.
salt
Maybe
water.
maybe we can read a lot into this and uh state that this game is in fact the hallucinations of a child, in the same vein as the Binding of Isaac.
But the Binding of Isaac isn't real.
No.
Oh man.
I mean, you can say that it is, but it is in the head of Isaac, sort of. You got the long bubbles.
Which the like if you know how to use the blue bubbles like properly, the only thing that it really does is let you go up screens.
I'm sure they thought
Yeah.
about that with the screen transitions and where they're placed and what they gate.
Yeah.
You know, to get to that next dungeon, you need to go up a screen, uh, unless you need the long bubble.
Yeah, and I don't think you can get across the water in the part before that without the green block upgrade. Oh, you might be able to like combine the two.
Mm. So how do you guys feel about the orb system, the incentive for exploration, which is finding blue orbs that damage bosses?
I was considering about getting all of them, but then I got to the final boss and I'm like, I'm good. So, I mean, oh, what? You could go up... I didn't have to float up those spiky boys? Oh, bullshit. So I like to collect them when I could, but as soon as I got to level 4, I'm like, okay, this is way too many to get to level 5. I'm just gonna kinda... If I see one, I'll try and get it, otherwise I'm not gonna care.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, the thing is,
they actually changed in Legacy so that there's skill points basically instead of
Ooh.
um the like boss health reducers, which I
definitely
think
feels,
works a lot better.
yeah, the orbs definitely feel more of just of a completionist thing. You don't really need to find that many at all in order to, utilize them with moderate effectiveness. But even if you didn't have any of them, the bosses are simple enough to where it's just, it takes an extra rotation or two to kill the boss. That's the only impact that they make.
Yeah, it's literally one hit point off the boss, which makes the first few are cheap to get, so
Yeah,
um
don't need very
not
many,
too
and they
much.
kind of just throw a lot of orbs in your way.
Yeah, so they can kind of guarantee that you're going to have a certain number.
Mhm.
Also, there was that book in that room down there that I don't remember. Like, I know Master didn't get it. I don't remember seeing it. Atcero got that.
Which book?
The Book of Sutter that doubles your staff damage.
No, I got that.
Oh, okay.
Yep, as soon as I saw that, I was like, okay, I need that book.
Not even
It
sure
took
if I saw
me
that screen.
probably 5 hours later than I actually got it. But I did get it.
Okay.
I refuse not to have that.
Did you find the guy that wanted to like look at the book too?
Yep, gave it to him.
Yeah.
What do you say about the book?
He just like wanted to look at it
Oh.
for like to confirm some of his findings.
Did he confirm his finding?
Yes.
Oh, good for him.
They almost always confirm their findings. I just want one of these games where it's like, oh yeah, my entire like life's theory like work has been disproven because of this.
Well, no, the real annoying thing would be, wow, this tells me literally nothing, and
Yeah.
doesn't. I mean, if you're disproving a theory, that's still something.
Yeah.
Whereas just more inconclusive evidence doesn't help anyone. Like, he went all the way up the bubble on the right side just to fall down the left side again.
Yeah. Well, that was because I'm trying to do the boss's out of order, so I'm like, oh, boss door, I need to leave.
Bye.
Oh, yeah, this is one that they did in both games, and in the second game, I like just spent forever not getting that orb because he's like, no, like I'll be sad if somebody takes it, and this time I'm just
Oh
like,
yeah.
grabbing it.
Oh yeah, no, I straight up looked at him, I'm like, that sucks, and took it from him. And then I talked to him immediately after, just to see his reaction, and he's just like, oh,
It's like
well,
dot
that
dot
sucks.
dot.
Yeah, dot dot dot. It's like, oh.
I don't like giving NPCs depression, I'm sorry.
I'm fine with
The
it.
orb doesn't matter to me. You can have it.
Oh, no. I
You have
needed
to
that
100%.
orb more than he did. So
Yeah,
he could deal.
He just wanted it for sentimental value.
Yeah.
Yeah, but unless you're at a breakpoint, that orb did literally nothing.
I think I was at a break point or close to it. I think I was at 3 when I took it. So he
Sure,
could deal.
but how long did it take for you to find another one that would have put you
I
past
don't know,
it?
but it doesn't matter. I needed it more than him, and he's an NPC.
Jeez.
Cannot convince me otherwise.
Okay. You guys like the biomes?
It's not the biome, chat! No, I liked them.
Yeah. There's nothing like that unique, but they executed the ones that are there well.
Yeah. Yeah, it's biome's pretty simple. You just kind of have castles or dungeony looking places, and then you have some outside areas. The outside areas are usually pretty similar looking.
Yeah.
Lots of forests and plains and stuff like that.
Central Alwa.
Lots of caves.
Oh, yeah, the Void Tower is very orange and purple.
Oh, yeah, this is like
But
the electricity dungeon kind of.
yeah,
Yeah.
looks pretty different from the other biome.
Mm-hmm.
Though you could make any biome look different from other biomes just by giving it a wacky color
I mean, that's
palette.
how,
That's
Zelda
kind of
2 did
how.
it.
Yeah, that
And 1.
is how it works. So it's not that important of a thing to notice.
No, but it does kind of give a testament of the limitations of what was on the NES. And, like, the only thing to make things feel different was color swaps. Or palette swaps.
Yeah. That's what I mean.
Yeah.
That's like committing to not making all your dungeons in wacky color palettes is it's a stylistic choice, perhaps. Oh yeah, there's a heart spike.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Hmm.
I think I did die to that one.
What, the heart spikes or
Yeah. I die a
Maybe if
lot.
just to
maybe if
everything?
I do! I don't think there's one thing I have not died to in the game, probably. You need to stop jumping!
Well, the bubble goes up faster if you jump.
I
Like, if you're
know.
standing on it, it slows down.
Okay, so it does go. Okay. I was thinking it did, but I wasn't sure, but I kept jumping anyways.
You're not jump, even though you were jumping.
you just tank so much damage when you play this game.
Yeah.
Who?
Cauldrath, I didn't watch you play it,
Oh, yeah.
Atcero.
Yeah, but I'm
How would
just
I
a
know if you
tanky
tank?
boy in general, so I wasn't sure.
Sometimes tanking stuff is faster.
And more fun. In my opinion, I like tanking shit.
Do you like taking damage? Games are built around punishing you for taking damage.
Because it's more fun. Then I can be, like, almost dead and my true gamer skills come out.
Maybe. Do you like taking damage in Hollow Knight?
I mean, but I never did
Maybe
the nail. Because I die
maybe
a
that's
lot.
yeah, maybe that's why you didn't finish Hollow Knight, because you're
Okay, I've
'cause it
pretty much
doesn't make
finished
you
Hollow Knight. I consider it beat.
you did not finish Hollow Knight.
I have one thing left. That's
So
close
you got one thing
enough.
left.
No, I'm not going back. I refuse. I don't need to. I don't need to prove shit to anyone.
Yeah, I only had 1 semester left for my degree. I just didn't do it. I mean, it's close enough, right?
It's different when you're paying thousands upon thousands of dollars for one thing and then a $15 game.
So if you bought Hollow Knight enough times, you would finish it?
No, because I'm not going to give them that much money.
Yeah, so if anything, it's even more costly to just
No.
finish it instead of being
I
close
got
enough.
I got my time value out of it already. I don't know what you guys are going on about. I got my time value out of it. What more do I need to do?
There's more value there.
No,
I mean,
not to me. It's completed.
you're allowed to spend as much time as you want on a game and, enjoy it. It doesn't mean you completed the game. It just means you're
I pretty much
no longer
completed
playing
it.
the game.
It's close enough.
Oh no,
It's literally final boss. That's it.
I don't believe you.
What do you mean you don't believe me? That's literally all I have left. I've gotten all the bad endings, too. I just would need to get the good ending, but it's like, eh.
So you're saying that because you got the bad ending, you basically beat the game?
Pretty much. And I didn't care enough to beat the final boss. And I've done that with a lot of games, because at the end of the day, it's like, games are supposed to be fun, master.
That's not true.
I don't
Some games are
need...
supposed to be
Oh
fun.
my god. I don't need to complete a game to feel good about beating said game. I can get to the final boss, and if I don't beat the final boss, but I had fun with everything else, I call that a day. That's fine.
It's okay. I did that with I think I did that with Silent Hill 3 because the last boss was really tedious and frustrating. And also I was more of just playing the game to review it as a whole instead of to quote unquote beat it.
Well, maybe you didn't get that far. Maybe you're lying.
Maybe that wasn't the final boss.
Yeah.
There's only one way for you to know.
Yep.
Yeah, this isn't a review for Silent Hill 3, however, it's a review for Alwa's Awakening.
Oh, but we're gonna talk about Hollow Knight for 5 minutes and give me shit about me not beating the game, huh?
Yes.
Well, that was part of the tangent. Like,
that's not how this works.
I mean, when I'm referring to both discussion about Silent Hill 3 and Hollow Knight when I say that we should stop talking about it.
No. I think it's when it's directed at you, you shift the topic, yet I sit here and take it.
Okay, do you want to talk about Silent Hill 3?
No, because I don't care about Silent Hill.
Okay. Silent Hill 3 was pretty... I know people I'm not sure if it's an unpopular opinion or not to dislike Silent Hill 3, but it did a lot of very rude things. And
Rude
overall,
things.
yeah, the game hates you. The game just does.
Is it kind of like La Mulana?
It makes bad and annoying decisions to inconvenience you, but
So
not
it's
in a
like La
way that
Mulana.
makes you improve, just in a way that annoys you.
Yeah, La
Yeah.
Mulana.
So, yeah.
I don't know about that. You're solving puzzles in that game.
I thought they were activity.
Sometimes.
Silent Hill 3, if I can give one example of something that is terrible, there's a section where you have to run towards the camera, but you come up to a bunch of like blind corners, and then the camera suddenly switches to a different perspective, and you don't know if it's gonna switch to the left or the right until you've reached the corner or you've memorized it. And you're also outrunning a red light, and you have very little room for error. And if you run, you turn the wrong way, you'll run into the wall, you'll smack your face in it, and then you'll die, and you'll have to spend several minutes running back there to attempt the memorization gauntlet again.
The La Mulana final boss.
What do you mean? I don't see how Bumlana Final Boss was an unfair memorization gauntlet.
With how to escape?
The game expects you to just like kinda know the map because you've been playing La Mulana for a
Yeah,
long
but
time.
then it's like when
Plugged off a couple of places, but I mean it gave you plenty of time.
no,
You
considering
also could have literally paused and looked at the map.
no, I thought he was still running when I paused it. I'm
I
pretty
don't
sure it
think the
was.
game's running when you pause.
No, I think for that sequence it was. I thought it was at least.
Hmm, I don't remember that though. That could be wrong.
Could be, but I
You
don't.
played it more recently than I have after all.
Yeah, but I'm also wiping my memory of it slowly.
Oh.
Slowly, but still as fast as you can.
So overall, and all was, how do you feel about the platforming mechanics and the platforming focus that the game has?
I enjoyed
Uh,
it.
yeah, I feel like that's the unique selling point of the game is that the fact that most of your upgrades are things that let you make platforms changes the way you get around in a way that's different from how most games change the way you get around.
Yeah. Yeah, the mechanics are nice. They're simple and yet they sort of, I mean, they don't really have many complicated uses. I mean, but they at least have a few different uses. The green block that you drop, of course, you can drop it on buttons, use it to push other things around, use it to block projectiles, or use it for jumping on. That's several things. Bubble's just for standing on, so you could say it's less versatile though. And then the wand is just kind of shooting things, sometimes powering things, opening the missile doors.
It's kind of a key.
God.
Yeah. If you consider missiles in a Metroid to be keys, then you would consider this to be a key as well.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, missiles have kind of more of a use, but you could also say that having a ranged attack when you only have a melee attack is better than having a better ranged attack or a ranged attack that can damage certain enemies when you already have a ranged attack by default.
Yeah. Like you could make the contention that it's kind of like you got a key and the ranged attack at the same time.
You could.
I just like whacking stick. I'm a simple nerd. If I am given a weapon, I will use it.
Not if it's a bad weapon, though. You will, when you play Castlevania, do you try to grind out specific weapons, or do you just use whatever drops?
Depending on the game. For the most part, I go with heavy weapons, though. I will always take the axe over anything. Axe or claymore, I like my heavy boys. In Curse
I see.
of Darkness, I'm finding that I am going with the lighter weapons, just for speed for combos. But yeah, usually I go for heavy boys. Because they do the most damage.
But do they do the most DPS?
I don't know, I don't care. It makes a big thwack and I do a lot of damage. That's all that matters to my brain. Monkey brain go, ooh, serotonin with big numbers. I don't care about the small numbers. I like the little. I like the big ones.
Watching the video footage on the 4x speed, and it still takes a while for the bubble to go up. It's just kind of reminding me how slow the bubble actually is.
Yeah.
Because you don't really need or want it to be fast when you're, doing a lot of the platforming, but then sometimes you just have to go up the screen with the bubble, or it takes a while to go up the chasms
Yeah.
in the game.
Like they could have to make some of those vertical areas shorter,
Yeah.
or had more to do while you're going up.
Also, if you're using you'd have to wait a bit for the wand, though I believe there was that upgrade that made the wand have a shorter cooldown.
Yeah, I
I
think
didn't
there
grab.
was one.
Yeah,
I didn't get
without
it
it, it
this
does
time.
feel slow. But of course, you're meant to explore and find it.
Yeah. And Alwa's Legacy, they actually had a bunch more upgrades that you could get because they had a skill tree that you used the orbs for. So like the two upgrades that you get in this one, um, you get by using like buying them in the skill tree.
Oh. Something I am just now thinking about, there aren't all that many games, I suppose, that use uh, I guess the Zelda system of having like a number of keys spread throughout a dungeon. Then you can use the keys on the various doors. And sometimes, there's an order for them, but sometimes there's multiple places to use a key. And I'm thinking about, well, the one game I can think of recently that you utilize keys a lot is Astalon.
Yeah.
So how do you think, what kind of key system do you prefer? Something with multiple tiers of keys and maybe more open exploration like Astalon, or something more akin to Zelda where there's more of a specific order and the keys are just gating the way you explore the dungeon?
For me, it
Uh,
really does depend on the game feel. Like, if the game feels more like a Zelda, I'm gonna want a more Zelda format for keys, but yeah. I'm very much a person who vibes with the game in terms of feeling rather than being like, oh, I prefer this or that.
I do think there is such a thing as having too many, uh, if you're just doing like the Zelda key system, if you have a lot of if you have a lot of keys throughout your dungeon, it kind of gets annoying to pick them all up and then, like do the doors in the right order. And you'd think maybe it would be better if they just had the dungeon be open instead of requiring you to open all these locked doors.
yeah, I think that the first Zelda had an issue with that, where it wasn't very like the key usage wasn't very interesting, but I felt like the newer ones got better about that.
Mhm.
And I think the way Astalon does it, where the keys effectively have a rarity, means that you get more interesting decisions with respect to them.
You also, I'm sure they had to put more thought into the layout of keys so you don't, run out of them because the game is open and it lets you kind of
Mm-hmm.
use them as you see fit.
Yeah.
Unlike Minish Cap.
Yeah, I find that system very interesting.
Yeah, this game
Uh,
actually does something interesting where the very last dungeon, if you have 3 keys, you can just skip like half of it.
Yeah, and I was actually considering about
it wasn't
heavily
very much of it.
considering. Yeah, no, you can skip one level each time. You can do it twice, I believe, and you can do it that way.
Well, I thought it was 3 keys to skip one floor.
It is,
And that
yeah.
wasn't even, yeah, that's not even the hardest floor. So it is, I mean, it is useful and it is a reward for having extra keys, but also it's not really, I don't feel like it benefits you very much.
Yeah, it's probably not worth it, but if you just happen to have 3 keys and you
Mm.
didn't, it might be useful for like speedrunners, I would assume would use that.
Well, yeah, maybe, but maybe it's not worth picking up 3 keys in different places in order to skip a couple of screens.
Yeah.
Because it's really thinking it's maybe 4 screens. You go a couple screens to the right and then you go up, and then you have a save point to your right, and a couple screens to the left. Again, is where the other side of that passage is, I believe.
Oh yeah, this area is kind of interesting where you had to like go through the spikes, which is something that's usually pretty annoying is having to like deal with a like a death trap and like where there's a illusionary wall or in that case floor, but they trap you in there so you can't get out unless you like do some weird tricks
Yeah.
or you find the thing in the floor.
Yeah, the thing is, you're not intended to use like the jumping on multiple bubbles strategy, but it is pretty easy to do.
Hmm.
So I can see people not realizing that they were supposed to have been stuck there. Though this is also coming from someone who, did a playthrough previously and kind of had knowledge of the mechanics
Right.
going in. Maybe it wouldn't be obvious to an average player if they were first time playing.
Yeah.
Oh, we forgot to talk about the boss.
We still haven't gotten to that
Oh,
boss.
have I? Is that the last boss? Ah,
That's second last
shit.
boss.
The last
Gotcha.
boss kind of annoyed me as well. Can discuss that.
Yeah, like because of the way I did it, the first 2 bosses wind up being like excessively easy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did
Like killing the first one within 10 seconds by just shooting it once.
Boom, bitch.
the last dungeon also. Some of the rooms are kind of annoying. You go through several rooms, and then you reach a room, and you go to jump on a platform, and the platform changes direction,
Mm.
and it punishes you for not watching it slowly move across the screen to see where it turns.
Yeah.
Also, something I've had a previously, both in my first playthrough and second, there's a little bit of jank mechanically. I don't remember exactly what happened because most of it was in the first playthrough. But a couple of times, I'd be on like a moving platform or something and I'd glitch through the platform, or I believe now that I'm thinking about it, my first playthrough, I think this game with enemy projectiles, it does something weird with them, and like going through screen transitions, you can get hit by a projectile from like a previous iteration of the same screen.
Mm.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, I've seen that in other NES games where it'll like scroll the screen and it'll bring a projectile or sometimes an enemy with you. It's usually like if they're moving in the same direction as the screen, so like it scrolls and then they don't get completely scrolled off.
Mhm.
There's that, but I believe, and I could be wrong, this didn't happen in my second playthrough, but I think so if there's a projectile on the screen and then you leave the screen and then you come back to the screen, the projectile would still be there. So not like it's scrolling with you. But I may not be remembering that properly, and it's not really a big deal regardless.
It was a bug that they fixed. Hey, so this game has a lot of instant death. What did you guys think about that?
Yeah, I'm not a fan of instant death in MV.
I mean it generally makes sense in the level design, and I mean not even like not all the spikes are instant death or anything.
No, only certain
But
ones that look a certain way.
yeah, I
Yeah.
guess if you're sticking with the NES theming, you could say, well, there are lots of instant death spikes in NES
Yeah.
games.
I can understand where the devs were coming from. I don't particularly enjoy the choice, but I understand the choice.
Yeah. I mean, it was okay. Again, it was a little annoying sometimes going through several rooms in the final gauntlet and then dying and then having to go through
Mhm.
them again. And it's
Especially,
somewhat precise platforming.
I didn't know there was a save room on the second floor, so I skipped that the first time. Whoops.
Generally, though, I mean, it feels like the decisions made in this game are calculated, and generally they knew what they were doing with that sort of thing. Also, with like the save points becoming more hostile to uh actually traverse, like they're being lined with spikes and stuff in the gauntlet.
Yeah.
Even though it could result in a death that feels pretty cheap. You could say thematically it's interesting and also it kind of makes sense.
Mhm.
Yeah, some of those it felt like, is it really even worth getting this save point? But I think the bigger issue is like a lot of the like challenge rooms where you get an orb are require like very precise platforming and um are oftentimes pretty far away from a save point.
Yeah.
Yeah, orbs are just pure completion to me. I don't find them compelling in any way.
Yeah, they're more
And
like,
I
ooh,
mean,
shiny.
yeah, and it's a way to track your progress, doing all the platforming challenges, but I'd imagine the draw for someone doing anything beyond the minimum for orbs is just, like the challenge, having fun with the mechanics and like finding the things, not because you feel like they're useful.
Yeah.
Gotta get that 100%.
Do you think
God,
they
I
could
hated
have
and loved the foxes. Sorry. I just think they're adorable, but they're such assholes.
foxes are really slow to attack you, so it never really a lot of the enemies don't really pose much of a problem.
Yeah, you just hit them once and then you hit them a bunch of times and then they like are stun locked until they're dead.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
A simple combat. I mean, you could say that because it's sticking with, again, NES uh traditions. You wouldn't want more interesting combat, but I mean they could have done something different, something more with the combat, I think. But obviously
Eh,
the focus is on the platforming.
I enjoyed the combat. I mean, look at me. I'm a Castlevania nerd. We get one weapon attack and we freaking like it.
Sure.
So I was more than
I
happy
mean,
with this.
they could have made enemies more interesting obstacles. There's, I mean, there's the dudes just who are just turrets and walls, and then I remember the ghost that flies around and shoots a projectile when he gets close. Was kind of, made you think about where you're platforming, but
Mm-hmm.
like none of the enemies aren't really that big of a threat most of the time.
Most of the time.
And they, I think they could have made more interesting enemies that would perhaps complement the platforming. Or they could have just gone full uh Ninja Gaiden and just make really mean enemy placements everywhere. For the most part, when you start platforming, you're not dealing with any enemies.
Unless they're bats. Or you just wait for the bats, I guess.
I hate the bat.
What's wrong with the bats?
During the boss
What'd you
fight, they
do?
were very annoying.
Why
That's the
was
point.
that orb that you placed just sitting there?
I think it got caught on the power up for some reason. The like heart that got dropped.
Interesting.
So maybe that's another speedrun trick. Like you have to get a enemy to drop something and then you shove a bubble into it.
Oh god, please don't introduce low probability RNG to speedrunning this game.
I mean that's something that happens in a lot of speedrun bubble games.
Yeah, but the more RNG the speedrun is, the more annoying it is to speedrun it.
Yes.
And people won't speedrun a game that's annoying. Especially, very low chance of happening, but it's a noticeable enough time save to be worth doing, or the game is optimized enough to where you have to do it. So this is
Apparently sorry, go ahead.
this is a tangent, but that is why people don't like speedrunning the when they're playing classic Doom, the UV max category, which is ultraviolence maximum, so you kill everything and find all the secrets because everything the the damage you're dealing is very RNG, and it just you have to do the same thing over and over again and just hope the game decides to give you a perfect result in order to make any amount of progress over like previous times. Instead, people will just kind of do speed runs where they're just either running past enemies or ones without enemies at all, just doing the movement through the map. Anyways,
Yeah, I was about to say apparently Minecraft has a lot of RNG in it too.
Yeah.
yeah, that too. You can at least argue for that. The runs are more about figuring out clever ways to adapt to uh weird situations, and there's more to learn there than there is in just again like comparing it to Doom RNG. Just hoping that the gun shoots the way that kills the enemy. Uh, because it is mostly because the Doom 1 shotgun has inconsistent damage and pellet spread.
Mhm.
Yeah, anyways, not to go on too much of a tangent about something only I know, only I
I
among our group
was gonna say.
knows or cares about.
Well, it's interesting, but yeah, it just reminds me of other RNG based games.
Mhm. Yeah, like I was doing speedruns for Mega Man X5, and the very first thing you need to do is launch the shuttle, and that has a certain percentage chance of succeeding.
Oof. No thanks.
Yeah.
This is why I don't.
That's why the cool speedruns are the ones that don't have crazy RNG requirements and instead rely on player skill and uh, commitment.
Well, for the rest of the game, it like is skill based. It's just right at that one spot. It's just pure RNG.
Yeah, so how are the does this game does always have a speedrunning community of sorts?
I don't know, maybe.
I would assume some.
It does seem like an interesting game to speedrun. Certainly better than some other games I can think of.
Yeah, it's
Obviously, it's just pure pathing and skill.
yeah. So there is a lot of interesting stuff you can do with pathing because of how sequence breakable it is. So I'm sure that there's like a lot of work into figuring out what the optimal route is.
Yeah.
And the fact that it has a speedrun achievement means that the developers like at least put some thought into speedrunning.
Mhm.
Oh yeah, so if you didn't notice, I actually saved at only the spot right next to that door where you need the key. So that way, when I like actually get the key, I can just quit the menu.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and the other thing is I'm looking for orbs here right now because one of the cool things in this game is the way like when you go to the map, it tells you how many orbs are left in the current area, which is something that I really like for like completionist
Yeah.
purposes.
That is actually one of my favorite ways to convey missing collectibles to the player. If it's region based, it's enough to go off of to where, you're not scouring an entire map for something. But it also doesn't tell you exactly where something is. So you don't
Right.
feel like you're being told where it is. Because there's a lot of different ways that games try to, or maybe don't try to hint at where collectibles are.
Yeah, you have the one where it's like there's a secret in this room, and then like you know that you don't have to check anywhere else. And then
Yeah.
um,
Metroid
so like
though, Metroid would still have, like a secret passage that goes to a different room.
right,
Even though Metroid's probably what you're thinking of when you're thinking of the dot on the map to show there's an item in the room.
yeah. Well, I was thinking more like when it has like a chime that goes off when you enter a room that has a secret in it.
Yeah. Chimes at least they do make you re-explore rooms, and it feels less like you're just checking off boxes. Like if you were looking at a map and you just saw that you see where all the items are at some point.
Yeah, like Ori 2, that was kind of an issue where um, if you got anywhere near an item, it put it on your map. And so, like at the end of the game, I just like went to all the places that I saw stuff on the map until I got enough collectibles to unlock everything. And then there was still a bunch of more things on the map that all it gave you was currency.
I mean, Ori 2 sounds terrible. I haven't played it.
Like it has some issues, but it's still a good game.
Hmm. Yes, there's also I do enjoy alternatively when games after like gating they gate you to have to explore a certain amount of the map, after which it will tell you where things are. That Barian, I think, did this very well, where it's something like finding 80% of the items on the map,
Mm-hmm.
like the jewels or whatever the treasure is, and then you get rewarded with an item that tells you if there's a secret in your current room. So it was a very kind of natural way to do it. There's also just if you're progressing late in the game, like in Hollow Knight, finding the grub map.
Yeah.
It's not. It's something that you're more likely to find than you would. You would be scouring the map for grubs. So at some point when you're just exploring, it's reasonable that you would find it.
Yeah. Another game that did something similar to that was Cat Maze, where when you got like right to the last area, um, there would be three cats there that like tell you where all of the secrets are. Like they would just mark them on your map, which felt a little excessive, but I don't know. That's useful at least. Like
Yeah.
it makes it easy to 100% if that's all you really care about.
Yeah.
There's also allegedly I didn't actually utilize this, but I was told that in Phenotopia there's an NPC who kind of like gives you a hint to where a an unfound uh collectible is. So if you wanted to, you could repeatedly go to this NPC and find collectibles that way.
Mm.
Which makes sense because the game is really large and there's a lot of things to find.
Yeah.
Though yeah, the probably the simplest way to do it that is effective and nice to have is just splitting it up into biomes, like always does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's easy to program and gives you enough information without giving you too much information.
Hmm. You could, I mean, those other more complicated options of being rewarded with a map at some
Mhm.
point in the game.
Yeah, San Francisco says that this town up there that you visit for about 10 seconds has some of the best music in the game.
Uh,
Yeah, this game has good music.
it does.
Though I don't, I'm bad at finding video game music to be memorable. I don't remember how tracks go in video games, unfortunately.
I'm the exact opposite.
Unless I listen to it repeatedly outside of the context of playing the game. Yeah, yeah, this is the annoying boss, the second to
Yeah.
last boss.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it literally does the exact same sequence of moves over and over again.
So did the red guy.
Well,
No, the
this
red guy had three random things,
No, they
or
were not
more than
random.
that.
No, they were not random. I fought that guy like 15
uh,
times and he had
look,
an exact pattern.
this is just doing it's doing the same exact sequence. Also, it's more
I
noticeable because there's only really you have certain opportunities to attack, which means you have to be in order to be in the right position to attack, you have to have the charge on your wand and you have to be positioned in the right part of the area. You have to at least how I fought this boss, I put the green block on the top platform and I left it there. I would kill the two bats on the right,
Yeah.
and then I would, orb up to the platform and hide behind the block to survive the projectiles, then immediately drop down to wand the bottom eye. And that was just, it's very consistent because there's a very small amount of things going on in the boss fight.
Mhm.
There's no if I start using the strategy, there's no benefit to me switching strategies
Yeah.
because I would have to you get in, you kind of get in a cycle of your wand being ready, or the state of the room. So where your block is if you placed it where the bats are.
Yeah.
Yeah, part of the problem is that a lot of the things like all wind up happening in a very short amount of time. Like all the things that matter.
Mhm.
Like when the projectiles are about to hit you is like right after you can start hitting the one on the top, and then the bats also would run into you about the exact same time that the you need to block the shots with the block. So like the vast majority of the time in the fight doesn't matter, and then there's like a very small section of time that you have to do a lot of things.
But it is just like the same small sequence of things that you're doing. And you do it repeatedly because that's how you have to damage the boss. I'm assuming you can't hit it with your melee and you have to use the wand.
It's
I don't
probably
think you can
possible.
jump there because the spikes in the water.
You could probably hit the top eye with
The
some
rocket bubble up.
platforming, but also that's when you start shooting projectiles, so that'd be
Yeah.
pretty iffy.
Yeah, no. The last two bosses had they both had set attack patterns. Because I fought that red guy like probably 15-ish times
Hmm.
to beat him, so I had his whole pattern memorized. Better word.
Yeah, so when you're doing the exact same pattern, aren't assuming you're good enough to consistently do it, there's no difference between having blue orbs and not having them besides it just taking more rotations.
Yeah.
I mean, of course you can break down any boss and say things like that.
Dark
I mean,
Souls be
by
like.
definition, bosses have, patterns. They do things. Hey, Dark Souls bosses don't have set patterns.
Yeah, they have
Well,
like a
Elden
random
Ring
set.
especially took that. Like, they
They're
could do one,
reactive.
they could do three, or they could do five. You don't know what the fuck attack they're gonna throw out next in their
Yeah.
sequence. They have so many different ones. But I would
Yes, that's a
say,
lot different from this.
yeah, Dark Souls 3, though, I would say, nah, they're pretty. They're pretty. As long as you know the pattern and you stick to your rotation, you're good.
Thinking about it, I kind of agree. It is kind of Dark Souls 3 patterns are very dancey. It's like, hey, dodge 17 attacks in a row and then have a damage window.
Yeah.
I always, in this situation, I would put the endless gif of the person rolling through dancer swipes over the footage of the stream.
Oh,
Unfortunately, I cannot do
God.
it.
I mean, I could. I know how to.
The question is, will you feel motivated enough to put in a random GIF into the footage
It's
when
more
we
if I
upload it?
remember. I do be forgetting.
What's the max orb level you can have?
99. Or 5.
I mean, you're,
I'm at 4, yeah.
yeah, when did you get to 4? It was a while ago,
I
like
think
I
it's
think
at
it's
after
at
like
World?
like
55.
60
Or is it 50?
or 60. It's in that general range.
Yeah, obviously a game doesn't need to just make you stronger than any challenge you could possibly have. If you explore everything, it is a little, it's a noticeable decision, I suppose. Because usually, people complain about missile tanks and all that, but missile tanks are generally helpful, and then some Metroid games you do kind of need a lot of them.
Me when I'm frickin' filling up goddamn Ridley's body with the super missiles, you mean?
Mm-hmm.
He is a missile sponge,
Yeah.
I swear.
You can argue that is the amount of missiles that you need is also offset by skill in the same way that all orbs are offset by skill. Except in in Metroid it's you have to actually be consistent in your aiming, which can be deceptively difficult to hit all your
Yes.
missiles on something, depending on the boss. Some have small parts of them you have to hit. Some fly around quickly, and if you don't know that they're going to fly around, you just will miss a bunch of missiles every time they change which part of the room they're in. Thinking of Ridley. No, maybe I am misrepresenting and merging together Ridley fights, and they're not actually like that. But anyways, the idea though is an idea. Yeah, so with obviously we already said with Alwa's it's just you have to do another cycle to offset not having the orbs.
Right.
I would say that's one of the least interesting ways to get more powerful in a game.
I mean, you do get the book. I wouldn't consider the orb making you quote-unquote powerful. I would say the book makes you more powerful. I would say, yeah, I would say that the orbs just essentially, how easy do you want this fight? In terms
I mean,
of external, I guess, stimuli.
someone could definitely make the argument that getting health chopped off the boss is equivalent to just getting a damage increase, which would be a more common reward for exploration in some types of games. Though the thing is, individual damage upgrades are usually a small improvement, and while it does come down to breakpoints, you're always getting a small amount of reward for something. Whereas with Always, even if you went out of your way to find, 10 more orbs, there's no benefit to you.
Well, until you hit one of those breakpoints where you get enough to level up.
Yeah, I mean at this point in time, you need to find every single orb in the game to get any more powerful.
Right.
And again, that's not a bad decision per se. It's clearly, exploration doesn't always need to make you more powerful. But it is interesting to compare how this game does it to how most Metroidvanias do it, where exploration does make you directly more powerful. Some people play Metroidvanias for the intent of becoming obscenely powerful,
Mm.
whereas Always almost feels more like it doesn't care about conforming to, people calling it a Metroidvania, which it probably doesn't. They just try to make a retro platformer with exploration.
It felt pretty MV to me. It felt like
Well, yeah.
not a MV, but like a not a almost a micro MV
I mean, it
in
does
some
feel
regards.
Metroidvania.
Actually, though, it does take
I'm
me longer to beat than Symphony of the Night, so I guess I can't call it micro.
kind of under the impression, based on certain gameplay decisions, that they would, I don't know, on the store page or an advertisement, do they directly state, come play this Metroidvania, or do they say, come play this platformer?
I'm actually not sure. You want me to look? I'll look.
If you'd like.
Alwa's Awakening.
Progress through a large interconnected world where you'll solve puzzles, fight enemies, and defeat bosses in order to help free the land of Alwa.
Yeah. Third tag on Steam is Metroidvania.
Well, the tags don't matter. Don't We'll do this.
No, the first 3 are chosen by the dev, if I remember
Get-
correctly.
Under
Wait a minute, watch
features,
this. This game's old enough that it's whatever's been tagged with.
Oh,
under
gotcha.
features, it does say explore large interconnected map in true, in singular quotes, Metroidvania, end quote, style.
I mean, yeah. I would
They
say
would
it is.
describe it as one, though.
It lists
I'm.
Battle of Olympus as one of its.
Oh
How
no.
does that make you feel?
Like maybe
It's a better game.
yeah. It's like maybe I don't want to play this game.
Oh no, it's inspired by Battle of Olympus, man. That retroactively ruins all enjoyment I had.
Jeez.
There are people like that.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. They're food people like that. It's like, oh, you ate this and it has this food in it. Well, I don't like that food, but you like the food in it. Yeah, I don't like it anymore. It's like, bro, what?
Sounds like what children do, more than what actual people do.
Nah, I have friends who do that.
Yeah, they're children.
Yeah, he kind of.
Yeah, see, there's the 3 doors that have keys.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't look the map, how many rooms that is. Either way, it's not that much platforming, and it's hardly the most difficult platforming in this area.
Yeah.
Mario, you're missing out on a save point by taking the shortcut. Though you do have another save point, it's, less overall. Obviously, oh man, if you mess up that block, you just have to
Yeah, you have
ride the platform back.
and then leave the room and come back. Yeah.
Yeah, also
I don't,
just
this is
platform
one of
speed.
this is one of the puzzles in the game that I like the least because you have to like push the block over, wait for it to come back, then
Yeah.
come down on it,
Like,
and then
if the platform was at 4 times speed, like, if you just look at the platform, like, that's kind of how fast you'd expect a platform to be, and then you have to remember, no, the platform is 4 times slower.
yeah.
I like the idea that they presented in this with the, kind of racing your bubble.
Mhm.
Green
That
block.
was pretty fun.
Yeah.
Or
The
and this room where you're racing the bubble.
They don't really go too in depth with the platforming challenges. Like, you totally have some very interesting platforming, I feel, in like a hard mode of the game, as I usually describe a Kaizo platformer mode.
Yeah, they probably could have done something where they actually required that you do all the tricks, and then made that a like a bonus dungeon.
Yeah, it's fair not to expect people to do that in normal game. This Gauntlet's
Oof.
enough of it tests your knowledge of the mechanics.
Yeah.
It does that well.
Mhm.
It's kind of what it's
I feel
for.
like the first and second floor were the worst floors.
I don't know.
Like, I
I would
found these
agree.
last 2 areas so much easier
I'd
for
have to
level.
rate them.
Huh?
I'm just thinking I have no idea how I'd rate them.
What do you? Are they puzzles or activities?
Oh my gosh.
Well,
So
we're waiting.
the exact same thing was in the previous dungeon. So that was a little annoying.
With since because of stream delay and watching, what he's referring to is where you place down a block going across water, and then you put down the bubble. The bubble rises up to a power gate.
Yeah.
So you're
Yeah.
just going through, yeah. And using it twice, it's fine.
I was gonna say, stream delay on my end too, because I'm ahead of you guys. Technically.
Yeah. And just since we're going through the screen so quickly, I thought I'd mention which screen we were talking about. Because when I was streaming my gameplay, which I did over Discord randomly, we brought this up, so I know what he's talking about.
Oh boy. Last time.
The final boss.
Yep.
Wahaha. You've kindly come to face me. Did you obtain all the ornaments? I must have underestimated you. Shall now win.
I don't think that's what he said.
Whatever, it's close enough.
This is a translation. It was a mistranslation.
It's a what was his name again?
I don't know.
Vicar?
Vikel?
Vicar.
Vikel.
Please
Oh,
don't say
you're
like
saying that out.
Also, it's I believe it's pronounced vicar.
Vicar? Is it? I was doing Vicar. Oh, I did the corner trick.
All I did was jump between the bottom left and the bottom right on either side of the water. Just whacked him as soon as he teleported
Yep.
and
And
just
then
dodged if he was on top. It's very easy to do.
yeah. If he does the floating head, you just go to the corner on the right and you miss all of it.
Yeah. All I did was I placed down a green block and just aligned myself with the rightmost pillar and
Yeah,
just
the
perfectly
putting down the
on
green
top.
block isn't as reliable as I would have liked. Because sometimes it'll like the block gets blown up by the first one that hits it, and then sometimes you'll even if you're like right behind it,
Yeah.
you'll
Like
still get.
that.
Yeah, that's why I always went to that one specific place because one of the projectiles like dead on hits it and the others miss you by a wide margin. And it's just, yeah, I found a strategy and decided not to look for anything more efficient because it worked just fine. Not that you can really be more efficient.
Yeah, I think if you don't have the lightning upgrade, you can't really efficiently get the ones up top.
Yeah, I never bothered trying to hurt him up top. Oh yeah, something that's pet peeve I have with games that this game does. Pet peeve of sorts. I don't like when games shoot projectiles directly at your location. Like just drawing a line between the enemy and the middle of your body, and then shooting a projectile there. I it does make your positioning on the map more important because sometimes like you need to be in a position where you can dodge the projectiles being shot at you. And depending on the layout of the room and the position of the enemy, that's not always feasible to do. And I just prefer if an enemy has a sort of projectile pattern or they try to align themselves to you in order to shoot a projectile.
I personally don't mind it. I'm so used to it in games. I'm like, yeah, whatever. I'll take it.
I think there's cases where it's fine, and like if it's just exclusively what the boss does, then it gets pretty boring.
Yeah, it's just to me dodging projectiles shot directly at you is not an interesting pattern at all. And I think that I think they can be used well, like kind of supplementary to the main pattern.
Yeah, I
But
think it's just like if they repeatedly do it, then it's a problem.
yeah, and of course, like if say this enemy teleports above you and if you're at like a certain point in your jump as you're jumping to the left, it just becomes an undodgeable
Mhm.
attack because of just the nature of having projectiles shot at you directly. Or yeah, or sometimes it's just a very awkward position where the projectile doesn't have a good way to be dodged because you should have stood in a different spot to bait out the attack. Like too low to duck under, but too high to jump over without using something.
It also means that you are like whenever it shoots at you, you always have to stop whatever you're doing and dodge that.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're trying to like do damage at the same time, then there's nowhere that you can go to do that.
Yeah. Again, like plenty of games do this. It's just something I dislike. Personally, there's nothing. Yes. I mean, You can argue that there are things wrong with it like we just did, but it is a it is a thing you can do, you know?
Mhm.
Certainly it can be more interesting than dodging the same exact static pattern if you have a very limited selection of boss moves, like in this game or I guess most NES games.
Yeah.
And I mean,
Yeah.
how much complexity do Mega Man bosses have? For
Not
NES
Usually,
and Mega
like,
Man?
very.
it's usually like they'll run at you and then like jump across the room and then shoot at you.
Yeah.
And like I'm thinking about some like Ninja Gaiden bosses, and they literally just like jump at you repeatedly, or they'll like walk up and swing at you if you're within range, and if you're not, then they just walk at you some more.
Yeah.
We've definitely improved in the well, have we improved in the AI section? Certainly lots of games have a terrible AI these days.
Yeah, I think we've improved.
Sad you guys didn't learn about the corner method.
What do you mean?
You
Why
literally
you
go in the
guys?
corner and you don't get hit.
My method worked perfectly fine. I never got hit.
It ain't
You just have
working
to
for
like
Cauldrath.
Cauldrath didn't do my strategy. It did something completely different to what
complete,
I'm talking about.
almost exactly the same, except slightly like off positioned.
No, mine was in the pillar on the right side, not the left side.
Oh my god.
It's a completely different part of the room. What do you mean?
Just go to the corner, you don't get hit.
There's
Hey,
nothing
past
wrong with.
Cauldrath, go to the frickin' corner.
I'll keep that in mind.
So what is the best way to make an engaging boss with the fewest number of attacks possible?
I
Um,
mean,
Like, how
Ganon
do you make a good
from
NES
Zelda?
boss?
or what?
Ganon from Zelda is my answer.
That doesn't narrow anything down.
Well, he had very. What
Which Ganon?
do you mean, which Ganon from Zelda 1?
Oh, so, yeah, that was trying to. That was what I
Oh
was
yeah,
trying to
well
get
we're
you to
talking about
say.
NES. Ganon was the only one on the NES you ever fought. You never
Well, he
fought him
didn't
in 2.
specify. He didn't specify NES.
Oh well,
I did specify NES.
You did. Oh,
I mean, not necessarily NES, but in the style
limited.
of when
Yeah,
a the idea spawned from NES bosses, so it makes sense to discuss them sort of in that way.
yeah. But Ganon, cause I mean Dracula. Dracula's a little bitch. Honestly, once you have his attack pattern down, I mean, he's more RNG based. But Ganon, I feel, was a little less RNG based. He's still a total dick, but
It's
well,
just how do
RNG
you
is one way that you can make something more dynamic.
what is?
RNG, like
Yeah.
you can add more variations. Like this boss would immediately be more interesting if the spray pattern was slightly randomized.
I don't know if you try to dodge using the block method, then you'd feel like you were just arbitrarily robbed of not taking damage because it was in a slightly different position than it usually is, and that's the only way to dodge it unless you go into the corner. It just reinforces the idea of fighting in the same corner for every attack.
Hiding in the
Unless, of
corner
course, some
probably
attacks
wouldn't
hit the
work.
corner.
Yeah. Like the reason that it doesn't hit the corner is because it follows a very exact pattern where the corner is not hit.
Yeah. We talk much about the story in this game. What does it mean? Eternal flame must be lit. Dark Souls. The
Pretty much
cycle
just like
continues.
oh boy,
everything was
Dark
great.
Tower.
It's pretty much everything was great. Then this guy showed up and he was a dick. and then everything wasn't good anymore.
As the prophecy foretold.
As the prophecy has foretold.
Also have no
Do
idea
it
why
again, Mitch. What?
Zoe was the one. I have no idea why Zoe was the one who had to do all of this stuff.
Isekai.
Okay.
Isekai rules, man. That's
And
all you need to know is isekai rules.
anyone could have gotten that like staff and then gone and beat up those things.
No.
And gotten the gems.
Isekai. She was summoned specifically for a task.
Yeah, but it was a task that literally anyone could have done.
Apparently not. She was chosen,
Or-
man. She was
or-
the chosen one.
Hey, nobody
maybe
else could do that
she's the-
platforming.
Yeah, maybe she's the only one that can jump that high.
Floaty floaty.
Yeah, it is pretty unrealistic for a normal person to jump that high. So
What was she doing before she got summoned for there?
it does not say. Probably getting hit by a bus.
It's true. I imagine they were just sleeping in their room. And then they were teleported to the magical world of Alwa. This was all in their dream.
Or they were
Uh.
playing the Atari 2600 version of Alwa's.
Oh,
Jesus.
actually, they're actually dead. They're in limbo, guys.
Everyone's dead.
original.
It was just a dream. This never happened. It took place in a storybook.
And the credits actually have a section thanks to our speedrunners.
Ah. I
Yeah.
think the speedrunners also probably helped find bugs. Because I mean, if you think about it, speedrunners are the gods of finding and exploiting bugs.
Yeah.
So they're probably like, okay, so this is a bug. Can we make it not a bug and then keep it for speedrunners? Yeah, that's the game.
Yeah.
And then we have the
Yeah, we
next
can-
game club game. I should actually get that ready.
Oh
Whoopsie.
gosh. Do
What?
we really want? Do we have to?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're doing it. I wanna play this, and I will stream it. We're gonna see this bad boy.
Both Atcero and I both voted for this game.
Yeah, we did actually. Here, display capture. All right. YouTube.
And Master,
audio.
you did not veto the game.
Yeah,
even though
you didn't
had the
veto it.
opportunity.
I don't like the idea of vetoing a random game.
Let's see which random game.
Just because I
It's-
don't like it personally. If the people vote for it, the people deserve to have it as their game
The
club game.
people have spoken.
And they are degenerates.
Yes, we are.
Alright, this is Heroine Anthem Zero. Well, that was that. I
Alright.
definitely heard a Link yell in there.
Oh yeah, no, there was definitely Navi and Link influence.
So yeah, the game is currently on sale on Steam, 65% off of its $10 base price until May 1st, and on Switch it is 50% off. I have no idea when that expires. Of course, the base price is a few dollars higher on Switch because it always is.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, the sale ends on Switch in 3 hours.
Oh shit!
Oh.
Well, if you got it on
Oh, well.
Switch, we should probably ping Game Club for that then.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Like right now.
Yeah, right. Literally, please ping them right now. Write that down. Write that down.
Yeah, it also is it has mixed reviews on Steam. It's not that I'm judging the game based off its reviews, but I'm absolutely judging the game based off its reviews. Yeah.
Hey man, you can't judge a game
Why'd
based
you
on
guys
its
choose
tits,
this?
I mean covers.
What inspired you to pick this game over all the other
The
games?
name sounded cool. That was literally my only
Oh
reason.
my god.
I didn't
I
like the
over-
other
I
games.
looked at every single one of the games and I carefully chose what to vote for, and you're just like, oh, I thought the name sounded cool.
No.
Vote for every game on the list that I have not played.
Damn.
Gosh.
I didn't like the other choices, so I'm like, let's do this one.
Well,
But Master, you're the only one that can ping Game Club, so...
Yeah.
okay, I'll do it now. Okay, while I do that, you can present to the audience our surprise if people
Oh.
haven't all left already.
Oh, we got 4 people. So, it is not confirmed fully yet, but we may be interviewing one of the devs of Elden Pixel, the guys who created Alwa, The Awakening, and Alwa's Legacy, hopefully next week. So we're in the works of attempting to get an interview. If times work out, we're gonna do an interview.
Yeah, they've expressed
Yay.
interest in doing the interview. It's just a matter of finding a time that works. So we don't know when we'll do it exactly. Maybe next week. Probably
Yeah.
next week.
Mm-hmm.
And then I could play Alwa's Legacy while we're doing.
Perfect. So I won't be the only one who's played it?
Or if I don't choose to beat it this weekend, one of the two.
And then Master can play it.
Ho ho.
What am I playing?
Always Legacy.
The sequel.
I don't own that game.
Buy it.
Eh.
Yeah.
We can fix that.
Yeah, we can make that happen.
Somehow or another.
But yeah. Thank you everyone for coming to our stream. And hopefully see you next week and have a nice night.